Veritas Scorpion Kabriolet by Spohn 1949-50. Veritas Arbeidsgemeinschaft FR Sport und Rennwagenbau, Veritas joint venture for the construction of sport and racing vehicles, was launched in March of 1947 in the village of Hausen am Andelsbach, near Hockenheim. Its principals were Ernst Loof, the former head of BMW's racing division when the BMW won the Mille Miglia in 1940, longtime sales manager Lorenz Dietrich, and former BMW motorcycle champion and pre-war Auto Union Grand Prix racing driver Georg Schorschmeyer. Their goal was to build a new sports and racing car to succeed the hugely successful pre-war BMW 328. It was an idea they'd been discussing since meeting in Paris during WEI. Their first prototype racer was built in a corner of BMW's Ilk factory, which was being used for vehicle maintenance by the Allies. Disallowed from building any sort of new car or engine in the American zone of occupation, the project moved to the French zone, and the team concentrated on what it knew best, the Type 328, with its unique overhead valve 6. Right from the start, the Veritas Rennsport was competitive, winning the German 2-liter sports car championship 3 years on the trot from 1947 to 1949. Desirous of building a road car, Veritas introduced the Comet in 1949, followed by a 2-seat convertible with the interesting name of Scorpion, and then the Saturn, a coupe with 3 abreast seating. The Scorpion and Saturn were both built on a 2,600 mm wheelbase and featured fully independent front suspension with upper and lower control arms, longitudinal torsion bars, and telescopic shock absorbers. The rear drive and suspension comprised a Dion axle with triangular links, longitudinal torsion bars, and telescopic shock absorbers. Steering was by rack and pinion. Brakes were 4-wheel hydraulic drums. The engine was a BMW 328 of 1988 cc with overhead valves operated by a quite effective system of transverse rocker arms that gave the motor the appearance of having overhead cams. The 5-speed transmission was of the company's own design. Veritas contracted with Crosserie Spohn of Ravensburg to clothe the chassis. Spohn had built elegant auto bodies for such prestigious chassis as Bugatti, Steyr, Mercedes-Benz, and Maybach through the 1920s and 1930s. However, compared to some of the coachwork that emerged from Spohn in the late 1940s and early 1950s, the Veritas Scorpion and Saturn would have to be described as mainstream and conservative. After several reorganizations, Ernst Loof moved the remains of Veritas to the Nürburgring and produced a small number of expensive cars of the same name, but funding had dried up for the perpetually undercapitalized concern. In 1953 the firm was absorbed by BMW, the company that had spawned it. Best estimates are that Veritas produced no more than 78 cars in all,